Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of the Articulate Fly, and we're back with another East Tennessee fishing report with Ellis Ward. Ellis, how are you?
I am doing well, Marv. How are you?
As always, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble and super curious. Any new focaccia recipes this time around?
Yeah, I've been tweaking the starter a little bit. So instead of feeding it every day at the 24-hour mark, I've been doing 36 hours, and over the course of 5 days, trying to get that right amount of gooiness without letting it get too dry. That does mean I'll have to get up at in the middle of the night every once in a while, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing assures a good day on the water like a good shore lunch, right?
That's right. And a nice medium soft goat cheese, I find, complements a hot day in the water quite well.
Yeah, with an artisanal seltzer.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's enough inside baseball. It's one common refrain. I've been recording a few more fishing reports before I got to you this evening is everyone's pretty damn tired of the wind.
Oh my God, dude. There's no faster way. There's no shorter line to the end of my patience. And it has honestly nothing to do with, anything that we're seeing that day. I could be fun fishing. I could have, an absolute killer or whacking fish. If I'm in a flat and that wind starts picking up, I'll tell you, it's going one direction, which is the opposite of the direction I want to be going. And almost all of the time, it is coming with unfishy conditions. And I know I floated this a little bit to you when we were out, but it's the socked in days where a day like today, you're going to have AI remove some of the bug noises, but the peepers are going, the crickets are screaming. It's insulated. It's, you can't really hear the dogs across the hill. Those days that the air feels open, it's dry. The sun, the sky is giant. You don't have a cloud around for multiple states. The fishing sucks. And so it's like we also, I talked about this a little bit, how you start seeing streamers come back from the bank. It lands a certain way. It has a noise, has a feeling. There's a little pause and then just a bump, and you get a little bit of a mini walk and then a kill down whatever you're fishing, bank, weed bed. And you get this like, oh God, like that's going to get smoked. And so that's these many multidimensional set of data that tells your brain this is good and it's fishy and the wind hits every single this is bad as quickly as possible. So if you can't tell, yeah, I'm with everyone else. I'm sick of the wind, and I do feel like, March and April can be some of the worst of it. And at least for this week, looking into next week as well, looking like some nice fishy spring days, mix of partly sunny, some thunderstorms. So some of that late spring, summer weather that I'm so excited is here.
Yeah, and just for folks to know, I mean, I was on the boat with Ellis last week, and the first day we fished together, we had wind gusts of north of 40 miles an hour, probably until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And, anyone who's met me knows that I'm not a skinny, small dude, and we were getting blown upstream with an extra angler in the boat too.
If it weren't you, like I would have treated that like I don't know, a lot of clients, shout out to everyone who's been on my boat a bunch. I'm so thankful for the network of clients and people that I know that I've developed over the years. But the handful of people that just find me, if that were just like a person that found me and we went out and it was that midday, I would have called it. I would have called it a half day. I mean, that was the windiest I've ever like continued to fish in. That was wild for a couple hours there. That was wild.
Yeah, but I mean, we managed to put, I don't know, probably 12 to 15 nice, fish in the boat on the dry. So it was pretty killer and not, not big bushy stuff, itty bitty stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean it's I was about to say not to toot my own horn, but that's the point of this, isn't it? I've fished these rivers and the musky water I guide on my own, so not with clients in the boat, for years in every condition possible. And I'm going to go out and it like I know it's going to suck, and the goal is to like I don't always have a new moon with socked in skies, and just a little bit of mist, not enough to shut bugs down. Like that, that's so rare. And then you include angler skills on top of it. It's like the perfect storm happens so rarely. And so early on, I just found that like we gotta, I gotta have plans A through getting into alphanumeric coding, by season, by are we fishing in the day at night? So yeah, thankfully some of the spots were paying, and you and your son kept the faith, and uh, boy, casting dry flies, casting size 20 CDC flies in that wind. I mean, there were some times where it's like almost waiting, and you're going to get a 2 second window where that wind cuts down to 15 miles an hour instead of 30, and it's like, all right, better take it. So I appreciate your hard work and faith and patience as well.
Yeah, I think the salvation too was, the caddis are starting to come off. So we actually could get away with a more active dry fly presentation. Otherwise, it would have been pretty darn tough.
Yeah, and sort of an interesting part of that caddis patch or the caddis pupa feeding. We get to fish bigger bugs in certain types of water, and in a lot of that water, it's water that wouldn't necessarily be my A+ dry fly spots. And those would, like, for the mayfly and midge fishing, those would be generally slower water. And like we did a little bit of that with that one under the tree that ended up just ghosting us. But like that type of sight fishing with the little bugs and mayflies, like that's more flat stuff. And again, it's you start getting wind like that, and the bugs know not to come off. I don't know if it's the barometer, if they're talking to the weatherman, but they know not to come out when it's 30+ mile an hour wind. Like they don't stand a chance. They're going to get messed up on the surface of the water, or when they get up, something bad is going to happen. So it just shuts it down. With the caddis hatch, it's like you get a more active presentation. You're also fishing somewhat, that active water, slightly more turbulent, a little faster, and boy, some of those. I'm just about to call them topwater eats, the dry fly eats, quote unquote, but eating those caddis pupa, doing it when you're doing it the right way, it's just streamer fishing. It's topwater fishing. You're getting trout rocketing through the surface, and it's not 2 foot brown, but it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you got to see a little bit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And got a question for you from Andy, and this is kind of a good thing at the beginning of the season. He wanted to get your thoughts on preferred terminal tackle knots.
Yeah. So That is a good question. I mean, with I'll just go short and sweet for the little bugs. I'm doing clinch knots, and not to be too detailed, but I'll go 4 or 5 turns. I think 6, especially on the little bugs. If I'm going 5x on a size 18, I'm doing 4 turns. Um, it just if you're doing 5, 6 turns using 5x on a size 18, and let's just say you're nymphing tandem and you're dropping something off the eye there, that's just a lot of stuff. Right up front, and whether or not there's visibility to the fish, that concerns me less. But I just think of it as you're putting, it's kind of like a welded loop, like you're putting this chunk of dense mass in a place that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So that could be absolute nonsense, but it's just my preferred technique, I guess, is to err on the few turns, and I think 4 is the right number. For streamers, I'm doing a non-slip loop, and I do 1.5 turns. There's if you do 1 turn and pull it through the wrong way, and I encourage everyone, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up the non-slip loop. High couple, it's a really, really easy knot. And I have pressure tested so much of this stuff to no end, only to arrive at the same conclusion that a lot of the times it's kind of in the back of my head, but it's just like, all right, or that it doesn't really matter, because if I'm fishing 15-pound fluoro for trout, the breaking point is a tree in fast water. That's almost the end of the story right there. If you get a fish over 20 and you are absolute straight line, already sort of tight, and pin it with everything you have, and you've just wrapped around a branch that has some spiky stuff, you can snap 15-pound. But otherwise, I mean, I know I've demonstrated let's put ourselves in the hospital for a shoulder replacement on our strip sets. Like you can't break 15-pound on a strip set. You're getting through slack, and then you're going to move the fish's face and the actual motion of the fly going through its jaw. So I think there's some strength implications between clinch and the non-slip loop, but that 1.5 turn non-slip loop is just, it's quick, it's easy, it doesn't break. I mean, when I'm losing flies, I think you may have had a couple come back like this, where it's like we end up getting it back and it's snapped off at the swivel. So I'll do 20-pound to a 35-pound little metal swivel, which is, I've just started doing this in the last year, and I really like them. It allows me to keep that smooth leader to line connection that I'll put UV resin on, and I don't move that, and then I just reconnect 15-pound fluoro to that little swivel, and that's the part that breaks. That that's where it snaps off. The one exclusion would be game changers that are bigger, and I'll call them sockier or floppier. So I use clinch knots fishing those because it's just casting and fouling up. So having a tighter connection you already have so much movement in the fly itself. And typically, like I'm talking the craft fur changers is really where I start to change how I'm approaching that knot. We don't need as much of a hinge, and they're so much more massive. They have the amount of mass in the fly is so much greater than the amount of mass in that 15-pound fluoro, that the fly is controlling everything about the system, versus let's pressure test this one and say a clinch knot using 25-pound fluorocarbon and a size 8 Relax, single hook, not much mass. It's gonna look like it's moving in the water with like you have a stick attached to it, and you're sort of swinging it around. You take that exact same system and do a loop knot, and you have freedom of movement at the point of connection. You take that exact same system and replace that stiff 25-pound with something more supple like 15-pound, and the system moves a lot more. And so it's kind of finding that happy medium and changing things up when it gets outweighed in one direction or another. And so just very quick summary. I know that's a bunch of different tangents, but clinch knots for the small bugs, loop knots for the streamers, and then I go back to the clinch if I'm fishing big, heavy streamers.
Got it. And then in terms of building your leaders or leader to tippet, are you a double uni knot man?
I'm not. I've screwed around with this one a lot, and I think it's boiled down to just doing a blood knot, and I'll do an Albright. If I'm going 15 to 25, that's Albright time. I've had more than one person basically look at me and be like, why aren't you doing this, that, or the other, double uni, surgeons? And it just comes down to like, what works and where are the pain points in changing, and where are the breaking points in the system on a routine basis. And we're pinning flies in trees in fast water and snapping them off. And that happens at the 15-pound section. And like, that's kind of the end of the story for me. I can absolutely, if anyone's listening to this and like, you should be doing this, that, or the other, and saltwater fishing or building, multi, like their own tapered leaders. Yeah, there's absolutely a place where something more sophisticated or simpler or whatever, is either the right or stronger or whatever answer. But we can just call it habit at this point.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email me or DM me on social media, whatever's easiest for you. And if I use your question, we'll send you some articulate fly swag or near you to a drawing for some cool stuff from Ellis at the end of the season. And Ellis, before I let you go, you want to let folks know how to reach out to talk fishing, get on the boat, and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah. Best way to reach out is my cell phone at 513-543-0019. Website is elliswardflies.com, and I keep everyone updated, sort of, pictures of flies and occasionally a fish picture here and there at Ellis Ward Guides on Instagram. And I appreciate you not putting me on the spot, but boy, I have a pile of bucktail all honed out and bagged and ready to go. So I will have those up this week, and we'll keep everyone posted on Instagram.
Well, there you go. Well, folks, as I always say, you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ellis.
Appreciate it, Marv.